I'm ready
Okay.
now. I'm ready.
Ready?
Now. I'm ready.
Ready?
Ready.
Ready to do it?
No. Okay.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Country Podcast with me, Jong. We have one of the most awesome persons that I've known in the scene, in the casting couch. Today, we just finished our shoot. We are very lucky to have the multi-hyphenated, multi-talented Queensiñera, mouth of the border, as our very special guest in this episode. Queen, thank you very much for the shoot and hanging out.
Ay, pues, ay, gracias for having me.
There you go.
And that's having me your very especial guest.
100%. Very special guest. Most special guest. For those who are just tuning in, the Fun Shoot Podcast is my conversation with image makers and life shapers, basically creatives, my friends, acquaintances that I know in the community, to talk about their process of creativity. Again, the main thrust of the podcast is it's not super easy being a creative professional anywhere,
No.
most especially in New York. So it's good to bring people that have expertise, experience, and has, for all intents and purposes, succeeded in that, to share you guys' knowledge. But before that, the most burning question, before we go through all of my other dumb questions, is
Not dumb.
who is Queensiñera M.O.B.?
Well, that's a pretty broad question.
Yeah.
I mean, I am mouth of the border. I am a burlesque, pole, opera singing, drag artist, and producer. I produce my show Metal Grad Babes, which is turning 6 in May. 6 years.
What?
Wild, I know.
Amazing.
And I co-produce Escandalo Gigante with Sir Go-Go Gadget. And that is... that turned a year officially this last February, and we just started our residency back at Slipper for every third Thursday. That's an all Latinx with a special guest honorarium Latinx person, not Latinx person, just to bring La Raza more forefront in that sense. So I am mouth of the border. So I am originally from El Paso, Texas. So I have I'm a total Tejana in that sense, but I am half Puerto Rican, Mexican, and as from what my grandmother insists on, there is Apache Native American somewhere in there.
Oh.
But yes, I'm a mezcla of loud and proud and shine, because I love sparkles. I love the glitter.
I don't see it, but if you say so, I will accept it.
And I wake up like this.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the funny thing about we've seen each other work. We've worked together a bunch of times already, but we really don't sit down and talk about people's, or at least in my experience, not a lot about their history and how they came about. And the thing that stood out when you mentioned your multi-hyphenate talents and jobs is, you said, right, burlesque performer, pole dancer, opera singer.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna start before we dive into other stuff. I want to start there because one of the productions that I've filmed you with Hot Fix Sideshow was you were doing both aerial and opera at the same time, which is very annoying because some people don't have one talent. You have more than two already. That's just very selfish. But how was that training? Was that what you did?
So that's what I went to school for, if you will, and my original passion. I mean, my general passion in life is performance, art, and creation, and what have you. It just, by the time it was deciding, for me, applying to college is like, what do I want to do? Be some level of artiste, if you will. And I chose opera I ended up on it for a myriad of reasons, but that's what I got my undergrad and my master's in.
Masters in opera.
Yeah, I'm a master of music on a piece of paper. And so that's what I moved. I've been in New York for 10 years. And I moved here to get my master's and can, go through the audition circuit and perform and what have you. And I've had opportunities to do so, which I'm thankful for. But like any other artistic medium, there are always ceilings and limitations and perceptions about who gets to be a part of the art form and what that looks like. And actually, so the link I would say that bridged opera into burlesque and to everything else is because I, in my training as a singer, I specialize, I'm a mezzo soprano in pants roles. And what that literally means is characters that were written for women portraying men.
Okay.
And to not get too into the history of it all, but it really was the most escandalo way to actually just see women's pants feature. Yeah, because you can wear pants and all that other stuff. There's so much more to it than that. But I, in short, specialize in portraying horny teenage boys.
On brand, I guess. You know? Very on brand.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. And having that already grounded base of like what that looks like in a classical drag sense. In short, I was at the time, what really got it was I was in audio school because I'm an audio engineer. I do live sound. And I was kind of reaching a point of where, what did I want to keep auditioning for and what I wanted to, because there's so much music out there. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot, of course, in the canon of opera music that is forever eternal, Marriage of Figaro, Madame Butterfly, all that. But there's also a lot of new music and what have you. And a lot of the work that I was doing was in a lot of more new contemporary pieces, modern music.
Nice.
There's just, I wish there was more of that in that sense. And at the time, my ex-partner and I we went to Company XIV's show way back when. And I saw in that cast, it was Opera Gaga, Marcy, who is also an opera singer and lyrist, aerialist. She does lyra. And pole as well. She's fabulous. Anyway, so watching someone else essentially be this classical artist and, you know, move and whatnot, I'm like, well, fuck, I could do that. I could probably do that. And then so with that, then I got into New York School of Burlesque and started working at Lucky 13 and just kind of inserting myself in the scene as far as a burlesque performer. And then once I got to a point to both of comfortability and what have you, then I started incorporating more like sing-in strips. So keeping that connection between my classical training, if you will, into a more, for me, freeing art form with burlesque. So that's where it all kind of came together.
It's really awesome to hear because like I've just recently started watching opera myself the past couple of years because I always thought it's like an opera, a ticket at the Met is what, $200.
It's not cheap,
It's not cheap, and then you have to dress up. It's like 3-4 hours.
Yep.
You have to eat, you have to drink. But we are in New York. It is kind of like the Mecca. It is some place that where else can you see it? But it's not just the Met.
Right.
There's so many things out there, and seeing you at the Hot Fix production doing both aerial and singing, again, although annoying because too many talents at the same time, you know, it makes me happy that even like quote unquote classical types of performance art is still, you know, I'm not the best judge to whether it's saying it's thriving or not, but it's still being incorporated in newer and newer things.
It is. And I would like to believe that I'm a part of a cog in a bigger machinery of other classical musicians who are also finding or refinding their voice and, you know, keeping up their musicianship in other formats and what have you. And the main issue, of course, like anything else, it's still a little whitewashed.
100%.
So there is that. And a lot of other things. I remember in college, one of my teachers said, "You're just not tall enough to play this stuff." It's like really arbitrary, crazy things of height, color, this, that, or the other. And
hey.
Listen, short kings, baby.
Not gonna lie, it's I think recently the only benefit of being short is like I'm very comfortable in an economy class seat riding. Everywhere else it's becoming more and more difficult. It's like I never thought that height mattered until I moved to New York. It's like it's pretty horrible. But you know, that's I guess that's the positive part of it. And you know, my view on it is being claimed classically is still one of the strongest foundation that you can do anywhere else. Like it's much easier to, be a classically trained opera singer and then sing pop or sing other things rather than
to a point,
the other way
yes.
around, right?
Yes,
I mean,
to
of
a
course,
point, to a point. Like
so,
I know for certain things in my instrument, like I'm not a pop singer, and even though I do sing other stuff that's not classical, like I know what works and what doesn't, if you will.
And you'll hit notes.
Yeah. But I don't go out of my way thinking like I'm not Adele or like, and I also, that there's just different mechanisms for that.
No, but that's it's good to hear. Like I had a hunch that you had some classical opera background or a formal training around it because I know some people might have self-taught themselves singing classical, but to do that while suspended in the air, half naked, I'm assuming one of those was training rather than just a hobby.
No,
right?
The quick changes from theater, yes, have no problem with taking things off and what have you, being a pole dancer at Lucky's, and then you
did also mention that you are an audio engineer, and that's the one topic that I always like to really bite into when having my guests here, because again, New York is as much of a character in people's lives than other people, but you already rattled off 3 or 4 things that you do. So formally, what are the day jobs, what are the night jobs, and how does that kind of flesh out in your week?
So for me, what I really wanted as far as maintaining a day job, when I moved here, I worked retail, I worked in sports hospitality, I worked in production, and that's actually where because I had received a scholarship to attend NYU for my master's, and part of within my scholarship was that I had to have work study. I had a work study grant where I had to work, and I got a job within the production department, and where I was kind of Fisher Price dove into light, sound, and stage management. And for me, which I already had in high school with like UIL done, when I think back of the very first UIL high school thing that I did, I wasn't actually acting, I was doing the sound for it. Anyway, fast forward. I love music. I love all kinds of music in that sense. And I'm not an audiophile in the sense of like, I know every single type of microphone and this, that, or the other. But what I really wanted, driving to my point here, I wanted my day jobs or non-performing jobs, if you will, to still be incorporated in the arts, if you will. And for me personally, it also makes me a well-rounded performer in that sense. And it also helps me talk to other musicians to make them feel comfortable. I specialize in live sound. I could work at a recording studio. I don't want to. It's just not my cup of tea. I love working in live. And I got into that because being in college from undergrad and grad and seeing my friends' shows and also even performing in some of them as well. And just I hated dealing or watching my friends dealing with shitty engineers or not present. And like live sound gets such a shit rap as far as like what people see from, the old guy with his pants like hanging around.
It's not just like turning knobs.
It's more, you have to turn knobs. It's a lot more active than what, I'm sure a lot of more well-seasoned, if you will. It's a thing of, and I get it, like it's a hard job. So there is a moment of feeling jaded in certain sense. There's a joke. It's like, if you've done your job, no one says anything.
Yeah, 100%.
You don't really like when you get actually like thanked and what have you. It's like, wow, wait.
People only notice you if something's wrong.
Correct, especially when it's audio because you can hear it. But so my main day and not when I'm not performing is I work in venues doing live sound. I'm a head tech at one where I, of course, work, but I also oversee other techs, and so it's still within the performance field, just on a different angle and different dynamics and what have you.
You mentioned it yourself that having other things like other professions, other day jobs, kind of feeds into how you get better at performing, working with others, because you know a little bit of the behind the scenes, and kind of like segues to my other question is like, how does all of your multiple jobs either make the other jobs better or kind of makes it a little bit more difficult to do?
Well, I'd say it all makes it better in the sense that it's I'm a people person, so I like to be around people. I like to work with people. And being a total theater art kid nerd, I want, whether it's my production or whether I'm in a show or whether I'm mixing someone else's show, like I want it to be a success. That's the name of the game. So because for me, again, I like knowing that for both myself that I'm, adding to it for a sense of archived kick-ass history of whatever project is being done and or up and coming bands, as have you. It just makes me a better collaborator. I would like to think. The downside, if because nothing is perfect, is you do, even when you feel like you've worked with pretty much everyone under the sun and know how to approach personalities and how to attempt to make feel comfortable, you're not going to please everybody
100%.
and you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
So still having to navigate, when I do sense that I am not someone's cup of tea or, they want nothing to do with me in the sense of what I'm trying to meet them in the middle to make something happen. So I would say it's like it makes the collaboration easier in some ways, but it also, it's just a matter of them still being in check and not totally taking things personal when it's not.
Yeah, I think it's just life. Like you can't please anybody in everything or even in anything, right? So just finding the people that annoys you the least I think that's my game.
Well, and as we get older, I mean, obviously, because time is short, it's not guaranteed. So it's like, why would you, I'm all up to work with anybody, this, that, or the other. But at the same token, it's a little more limiting because your time is precious and it's money and this, that, or the other. And for the moments that you want to seize and be a part of, why would you not want them to be with people that are your people?
Yeah, for me, time is the only thing that I care the most. It's the thing that care most of. Like sometimes, like, sure, money is fine, doing stuff is great, but in the end, it's the time of either giving it to people that you want to give it to, giving it to yourself, throwing it away. It's like, because a majority of our lives, our time is either spoken for or we have to allot it to something that will pay the bills, keep us living. So yeah, it is life. But it's really good to hear that all of your multiple gigs, all of your multiple work still kind of revolves around entertainment, art performance. So that's good.
Narrate audiobooks.
Narrating? Okay, there's too many things.
You can look up, I've done a lot of kids' books. A few nonfiction ones, and adult fiction, but mostly kids' books.
Because I've been crushing like 2 audiobooks a week now because I've been pretending to work out a lot. So there's a lot of walking to the gym time, a lot of being at the gym time, a lot of walking back. So I can't read a book.
I mean, you can, you just don't cross traffic.
100%. It's like it might be a little dangerous. So I've been crushing audiobooks. We will figure out all of those audiobooks that has been narrated. But speaking of that, if you can wave a magic wand, what would be your ideal? Like, this is what I would want to do for 100% of the time. Like, if you had to pick one of the many professions and really up level it to the limit that you'd want it to be, what is your ideal profession?
I mean, I want to be performing. I mean, my dream always has been since a kid to be one of those EGOTs, if you will, because I used to make this joke when I was in high school. It's like, I just aspire for some level of autistic poor because I sing, dance, I dance, I act. And so it was really and I'm the one kid I'm the youngest of 3 that has the artistic black sheep bone in my body, while my siblings are in finance and tools, and
Like,
they don't gotta worry about
real jobs.
Yeah, real job,
with
real jobs.
benefits.
Yeah,
401k.
like things that, and to which I'm so happy for their success and what have you. But I do want my success to really stem from my art. I would love to get to a status of being recognized for all of those facets, and then in turn, with that success, being able to, of course, buy groceries and pay my bills, but continue my productions with my shows, and then provide back for other artists. Like own a venue, things of that nature, to where it's just this continuous cycle of art and creativity. And
that's what I've noticed with the people that I've spoken on the casting couch too, is some people that are a little newer in the career, they just was like, I just want to be able to perform full time, because right now, or most of the time, even like full-time performers will still supplement it with something else. It's like, it's weird, like people do 2 or 3 jobs, do the 3rd and 4th job.
And it's also, I like being busy as well. I can't imagine me not running around as much as I do. I used to do a lot more running around pre-pandemic. And I think amongst a lot of shit that everybody learned through that time, for me personally, I had to find a better balance to not overdo it, because again, of the whole thing of like, time is short, nothing's guaranteed. And like, I don't want to just put myself into overdrive and, run myself ragged for what? I do like having, I will say, like, it's nice, to step away from the stage for a second to do other little things. Like, like I do love sound for that reason. Just because it can be grueling and, either repetitive for some and what have you. And that's the hard part, is like when you do then have consistency to then make it feel fresh every time.
Yeah. No, that's why I do this. Like, this is not my day job 100%. I have like 2 days in a month.
A real person's job?
I have a real person's job.
Yeah.
I have a 401k benefits, employees that I have to kind of mentor and stuff. But exactly right. I would go crazy if that's the only thing that
that
I know and spend. But also, I think the reason why most of my friends are performers, because we all have this attitude of just continuously learning, tinkering, and improving things.
Absolutely.
And there are just some things that if the day job is the only thing that I obsess about, I'm gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So it's nice, like, all right, I'm obsessed about work for a little bit, but it's just work. Nobody's saving lives there. So I'll do this and do it with friends, learn something new, fail a lot, maybe succeed a few times. So it's kind of great. So it does balance it out. It's just, my level of commitment to art and performance is nowhere near. The reason why I will never do photography or videography full time, because if I don't like the project, I'm just not going to do it.
Well, why? Yeah, no, you.
And then I'm going to grow hungry and die.
Right.
So I like the idea of like, if I don't want to do it, or I can pick and choose. Some people pay me $50, some people pay me a lot, some people don't pay me. So it's good, it's fine, because I get rewarded. I just can't do that 100%.
All the time. No, of course not.
But speaking of producing and making gigs, which you are 100% one of the most well-known producers out there in the community right now. If for the people that have not interacted with you, have not gone to your shows, might have heard about Burlesque, but maybe not as an expert as most New Yorkers are, how would you describe your shows? Like, how are your shows different than other shows? Apart from usually having really, really hot chicks that.
Well, hot people. It's not just chicks. I have very hot individuals.
Creatures. Period.
I have very hot artists of all demographic shapes and sizes. Because Metal Grad is very much a whole call to arms of all of artists that I am fortunate enough to have worked with or work with in the scene, and am inspired by. Would like to work with more, and getting them together at Lucky 13 Saloon in Gowanus.
Second Street.
on our questionably carpeted stage, which is great. There's it is.
There's a stage though.
There is a stage.
At least there's a stage
with lights.
There you go.
A makeshift green room, if you will, but it's an actual stage. There's actual space back there in the sense.
At the back of a very cool bar.
Yes. And while it is a metal bar, but while within the title suggests, it's not. I never require my performers to perform solely to metal music. If you bring a metal piece, great, love it. It's really, to me, I had started that show. I had originally started it with a patron who had brought lights. It was a co-collaboration of him bringing lights and me finding people. And then that changed during the before the pandemic hit and what have you. But the main point was, it is more to me metal to bring everyone together and strut your shit on your terms.
100%. That's the metal part. It's not.
And also, once the show's done, then you're gonna hear metal all night with ass being thrown on the bar forever until 4 a.m. So you get a nice little hour and change reprieve of that, but it's still just as powerful as seeing typo negative or any of those in real time, just with nakedity and artistry. Escandalo, as I had mentioned earlier, Gigante is a co-collaboration with Go Go Gadget, and that is centered on showcasing a lot of the Latinx performers that are in the tri-state area, and that we're fortunate enough to work and know and remind the NYC community are, fiery, Latina brothers, sisters, and everyone in between. Because I feel like for, while we were present, we could still be more present and still just be as much, recognized. And I'm actually wearing Miss Frankie Eleanor, who's
good friend of the show, Miss Frankie Eleanor,
who she hosts Nurse Betty, and so it's the thing as far as we're in pockets where here, that, or the other, but I just want us to be more in the forefront. And then we were at Slipper, and Slipper is Lower East Side,
one of the
treasure and
institutions,
and one of very much. So we're very grateful and fortunate to be able to put on a production there at somewhere that's notable and that is draws in a lot of different people from old and new crowds and what have you. So those are the two shows that really that I do, and the main. It's such a hard question as far as what's different. I mean, there's so many different shows out there. That's the thing. There's a lot of different shows, a lot of great shows, and there's a lot of different types of shows to see. So it's really hard to say as far as what's different about mine or what's that I'm a part of it, other than that it's just. I don't know. I'm a part of it, and that I do. Every producer has their own style, finesse. We're all different on the mic, and it's just. I don't know. It's just a little different. You just have to come experience it for yourself.
That's the point. It's both shows are extremely fun. I've been to a bunch of Metal Grades already, particularly because it's so close and such a fun venue too. But it's just super fun. But I do love the fact that it's the metal part is bringing so many diverse things. That's the thing that all these genre elitist people, whenever they want to label things, is it's metal, it's punk. The punk thing is or the metal thing is it doesn't care,
it
doesn't have to have doesn't have to have distortion in the guitar or power chords for it to be metal. Metal is it's an attitude that you bring.
It's an attitude. It's your artistry. I will say Metal Grade is very much known also for we love tarps. We love good messes. So tarps live their best lives.
Right.
So if you build a Shayna, great.
That is a very burlesque thing, or very performance thing. Tarps. When there's tarps, you're about to have a good time.
You're about to have a
you
good time.
You might ruin your shoes or something, but hey.
You plan accordingly.
You
plan accordingly. And
just don't be in the splash zone.
The Marines,
that's great. And of course, Escandalo Gigante I'm a big proponent of pushing forward everyone's heritage. Like it's um, particularly in big cities like New York, we have so many. There's so many minorities, so many people of color. It's not a DEI checklist. It's not a
No, and it's also not a monolith. Like especially like I mean, I would say across the board for LPSC, but for what I find in the Latina communities, like we're truly there's no one look to it. There's no one, you know, especially in the Spanish language it varies across country to country. You know, the colloquialisms change, the velocity, the rate of which you're speaking. It's never, you can't just put us all in one box.
Yep. It's just also good to the diversity is not good because just to be diverse. That's the thing. It's like you're not going to plug in different nationalities in one job or in one show just because you think it's the good thing about it is like there's all positives and negatives and we all learn from all of these things. So seeing just like a particular group of people with your particular set of cultural strengths, it's fun because like very fiery, very sexy, very fun, colorful. So it's like some cultures and nationals might be a little bit subdued and different and soft and but having different looks makes like, oh, maybe I can, maybe if I'm in the mood for that, I can go there. I can take bits of that and bring it to my own. So that's always a cool part of, being in a place like New York, because we do have venues that will have these, because like most other places might not. We take it for granted here. It's like there's a Latin night every bar that you go to. So, but no, it's great that we have one of the more established institutions in terms of venues of performance having their own night. Of course, we could do more, but hey, at least
it's something.
It's zero is better. One is better than
nothing. Yeah.
It's great knowing a lot more of your background. So yeah, I'm a lot more enriched now. That's right. But this is still a kind of, this is my photography podcast where I to give the people some ammunition to collaborate with other artists. Whether it's a photo shoot or video shoot, if you guys are dancing together, making choreography, producing a show. I always kind of like asking people about the things that they've done that they're most proud of, right? So what has been either your most favorite project, thing that you've done, in general, like the interpretation is also there as well.
My favorite, I mean, well, I'd say the biggest right now, the most recent development is that I became an official member of Hot Fix Sideshow. So expanding on bits of Sideshow like glass walking and grinder. I'm not personally going to, as a singer, I'm not going to do fire sports walling, but my hat's off to my Sideshow sibs who do.
You can do the blockhead.
Maybe. I have not done that yet. I would probably do it. I already have a deviated septum from terrible sinuses, not from a snow habit. Let me be clear.
So just add on like, aerial, opera singing, burlesque, it's walking on glass. Whatever. It's like,
So that's been really a big, cool favorite development because I have a banner. It's really, it's just nice to, be a part of something as epic as Hot Fix. We're this troupe of 10 plus insane performers 100%. In some of the most notable in nightlife. And so being a part of that is, like I said, is part of my grander plan of being, a continuance of artistic history. So that's been really cool. And I would say, from that, just continuously my growth as an aerialist and singing while doing that. Outside of that, nice to be able to perform. I'm just grateful. I'm just happy to be here. It's all
happy. Please,
it's all to be here. It's all great. Yeah. It all matters. Yeah. Every little gig, I don't mean to say like every little gig. Every gig counts. Yeah. It's not, when I work with musicians doing audio and setting up mics, and one of the band members will be like, "Oh, I'm just doing background vocals." Like, I'm not. It's not just background. It's all.
There's no small roles. There's no roles.
Just or little or that. Yeah, because it all means something.
No, that's good to hear that. Again, doing monthly or regularly shows and then performing almost every night, it's easy to kind of either deviate to my favorite X or my least favorite Y, but it's good to kind of like, all right, no, everything counts. And then that's also another way of saying like, maybe it's still to come. Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I feel like, there's so more to, we've only just begun to, figure out what else is going to be bringing mass more.
There you go. And even more into the advice section of the podcast. We just finished our shoot. So one of the main segments of the show has always been talking about your favorite image. So I'm going to get it after. I'm going to post it right here in the middle on your screen so you can see, Queen's answer. But like, what has been your favorite image that either of yourself, you've taken, somebody else have taken?
Thus far, there's been I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of great amateur and professional photographers, such as yourself.
Ooh, I didn't pay.
But to pick just one, and also, I mean, I wasn't always this red hair wise. I need a touch up.
That's natural.
Yes, I was born as a Cheeto. Hello. But so there's like, I think back, I'm going through the Rolodex of shots, and there's been shots from when I was still a brunette that I'm like, oh, I love that. Right now, I would say my favorite shots that I've have at the moment, top three, in no particular order, is my most recent with Jesse Korman from
the
number 12 look.
That was my favorite as well.
That look for all of us. I swear, when we got our the print of it for all of us on one, it looks like a movie poster. It looks insane. It's just badassery. Like, everyone looks insane.
Inspired me
in
to
the best way.
Get that because as a photographer, when I saw it, I also have my favorite shots of my guests too. So that's my favorite, but that's kind of like unfair because like I know what it took to make that shot, and it's like, can I do it? Should I do it? It's like it's too hard.
And everyone, all y'all have your different styles.
That's that canvas hand painted background. I don't know where to store it. I can't roll it up, so it needs to be staying stuff. You know what? That's your thing. Enjoy. That's great. It's a great shot.
And there's two shots from Norman Blake, who's a Coney Island photographer. Shout out Norman.
Get
well soon. He's in the hospital right now. Sending thoughts and prayers. All the love. And the one was from the most recent Hot Fix ball drop. There's a really great pole shot of me.
Oh, nice.
It's very moody and whatnot. And then the other one was when I had competed for Miss Coney. Who won that year? Aurora. But of all, listen, I mean, that was a great show.
So that was 20.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. 20 going into
3.
Yes.
23 going 25-4. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's Maggie, Aurora, and
now
Obsidian.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. We'll show all.
So that.
Those
Wait. And then the third. The third shot was your shot, the blue look that we did last year.
Ooh.
Because remember that?
Oh, right.
Because that one gets used a lot, like for if I forget to send my promo stuff for other people's shows. Sorry. As producers, I swear, because as much as we'll gripe, like, why do I have to chase you? And yet, oh, right.
Yeah. That blue shot rocks is like
with the hat and
dark background. Yeah, super hot, teeny tiny.
The boots.
Bikini set.
Yep. The blue. So people usually like take that from my Instas. Like, all right, you didn't send me anything. I'm gonna use this one.
Yeah, So we're gonna share, our favorite shot of Jesse Korman, the poster shot for Hot Fix Sideshow, cast photo shoot, and then Norman, get well soon. We'll post that too, and my shot because I have it. I'll post it right in. It's right here. And to that point, like you've mentioned, you've worked a lot with a lot of professional and amateur photographers. Um, what what makes a good collaboration session in your words? Like, what would you tell either other photographers or other subjects to do or be so that the space is conducive for creating cool stuff?
For y'all photographers, thank you for those that I've worked with for making it comfortable. Comfortability is the main thing. Don't be creepy. Don't be a creep with a camera.
That's
please.
harder than you think. It's harder to find not creepy
exactly.
people.
Yeah, with cameras. Yikes. So off the bat of having a sense of comfortability and consent, what you're willing to shoot, because it's a two-way street, what you want to see behind your lens and what we as your muses, figures, or whatever want to
need to have.
So like I know like when I work with I Really Hope You Win, I love doing super fun like
Albert.
What up, Albert?
Shut up.
It's my dude. It's very fun, raw, most of the time nude, or dumb smut. And also just because I would also say I'm fortunate to work with my friends. So I already know what to expect as working with you as a person, as my friend. So there is that bit if you already have that connection, if you will, kind of knowing what works within your dynamic of your already established connection via friendship to then bring it to the backdrop and lights, camera, acting situation. But if you don't know or happen to be friends with that person, I mean, it's having a clear idea of what you want shot. Like really, even if you are like, I'm very much one who likes to go with the flow. I like to think that I'm easy to work with and can do, more or less everything and anything within reason. At the same token, like I don't want to be wasting anyone's time and I don't want my time to be wasted. So I have, when I knew what to bring for today and last week I worked with Doug Ross and like totally different. It's just, you just know, it's just different type of planning as far as like personalities that you're going to be working with.
That's what I try to say. Is like, even if you're just winging it, you still need to have like
a plan,
or like you need to make sure that you're going to get a baseline output regardless of how prepared or unprepared you are. So you're right. Every photographer, every artist has a different process. Some people are a lot more loose, a lot more fun. Some people are super duper strict. Like, I have my own, countdowns and stuff like that. I have like, I sometimes send PowerPoint decks for inspo shoots. But, if you're on the more prepared side, you need to work on being a little bit more flexible. And then if you're a little too loose and a little too fun, maybe a little bit like, all right, we can have fun, but we'll get these 4 or 5 shots to make sure that you get something. So that's always a good thing. And of course, I think, it's sometimes like I don't know whether to be happy. We keep on saying that consent, don't be creepy, or sad, because like, every single thing that you do, every show that you go to a restaurant, you go to a mall, you're reminded every day, we still have to tell you. But I guess, that's...
there's signs in bathrooms to remind you to wash your hands.
That's
and
true.
That when you receive hot coffee, that the coffee is hot. So
100... Oh my God. Yeah. Reminds me I need to wash my hands at some point.
There you go.
But no, this is great. Like I always love spending a little bit of time with, experts like you. Again, selfishly, to get to know the people that, you hang out and you work with a little bit more, but also to continuously kind of like pry out all of these bits and bobs. Like, shit, I didn't know Again, I had a hunch that you were classically trained. Didn't know that you were that classically trained,
Yep.
grad and undergrad. But also, I also want to revel in the successes of being in Hot Fix, class walking. These are newer and newer skills where
Yeah.
people forget that it doesn't matter at what stage you are in life or career. There's always something either a little bit better to be at or a little bit more fun to be had. So that's great on my end, which is I'm gonna take all of those lessons. Hopefully, our viewers, you listen very very intently. Go to Queensiñera's shows. So as we roll the credits, that's where we want to do like that camera, that camera, or that camera. Tell people where they can find you. Maybe your camera, this one.
So, my shows you can find every last Sunday of the month. Metal Grad Babes, Lucky 13 Saloon. And from now until July, as our residency goes until then, Escandalo Gigante is every third Thursday at Slipper Room in the Lower East Side. And you can follow me on the social media at Queensiñera _m.o.b. I'm out to the border because from the border town, baby, El Paso, Texas.
There you go.
So, but yeah, you can follow me on there. And then follow Hot Fix Sideshow. Our next show coming up is April 27th at Red Pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will, all of said links will be at the show notes and show descriptions. I highly encourage you guys to go to all those shows.
Oh, and Last Chance Dancers, which I'm a part of.
There you go.
That's every third Friday. I'm a core member of. I don't produce that show. I'm just a part of the troupe of what Venetrix calls slutty shenanigan strippers.
I just call them like hot. It's like I try
that show. Quick plug-in of that. That is where we do a whole album from start to finish.
Yes.
Like no, other than literally flipping the side like an actual album for intermission, so y'all can pee and do drugs. There is no hosting in between. It's just full side A, skip intermission, side B, and now we usually have a special guest for. That troupe is composed of me, Esme. The producers are Maggie McMuffin and Venetrix. And Zaddy Addy is also our main drag artiste. And interchangeably, we just took beautiful new group shots because we have an Oxtended. Get it? AUX.
Get it?
Get it?
Get it? Get it?
An Oxtended universe that features Quams Galore and our original sideshow queen, Kita St. Cyr, my other prima. So yeah, third Fridays. Those shows are interchangeable between Lucky 13 Saloon, Sleepwalk, and other venues. This month, for March, our show is the 21st at Lucky 13 Saloon, which will feature a poll because we have our Tina Darkley as our special guest, and we're doing Massive Attacks Mezzanine.
The one with Teardrop on it.
Yes.
There you go. See, that's also a super fun show. I've been to a couple. I just had to stop going because it's very distracting to have like 4 to 6 of the hottest people rocking pretty damn awesome, well curated albums. And yeah, speaking of Ox, like even like the Metal Grade theme of the month is also hella funny. So I like that. I like the puns.
Yeah, last month was Glory Holes of Love.
There you go. Who doesn't like
I love a
love?
good pun. I love a good pun.
Who doesn't like love?
Right? Well, there's a few sour people, but I love love. That's why I love love so much that I love to love. That I always sign my emails, all the love. Your Queen Bee. All the love.
I started using my initials in my emails at work because my initials are JFC. So
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
I swear if I were to get an email with JFC, I would just be like, Jesus fucking Christ.
JFC. It's like really? It's my initials. It's my initials.
Stop.
It's my initial. But also Jesus fucking Christ. This is great. Again, highly encourage Metal Grade, particularly Metal Grade, because it's near me.
It's one of the cheaper shows to see. That's one of the stark differences I will say. It's always $10. Yeah. And you can't even get a
too many performers. A lot. Sometimes I think about like, how do you fit in that many performers? But that's the fun part of being in New York and being with like real artists that produce shows. Because again, it's sometimes sure money's great, but it's also community. It's also working at your stuff. It's also networking, also entertaining dumb people like me. But I love Metal Grades, particularly because it's super close. Also,
Super
it's a great
close.
venue. Always like a hot cast. Last
Finishes
chance
before
intro.
midnight.
Yeah,
So.
it's great. And then Lucky 13 is one of the most fun places. Like I always bring all my cousins there because
There's no place like it.
it's like it's a metal bar.
It's a metal
Yeah.
bar with, go-go
Yeah,
dancers.
it's like they hit their head on the Jack Daniel's chandeliers all the time.
We try best not to.
And they walk around and they chat with you. It's like
the
it's
ambiance.
fun, and they have very, very calming music all throughout the night. It's just chill, very calm.
Yeah.
So that's the best. We'll have all those links. Make sure to follow. Because that's just the tip of the iceberg of all the other things that Queensiñera does. And of course, this is the Fun Shit Podcast. This is my monthly podcast that I sit with amazing people like these, try to suck in all of the knowledge, all of the coolness, because I am cool deficient. So this is my vampiric way. And this is part of El Jong TV, where same thing like our amazing producer friends that we have here, like Queensiñera, that does. I try to showcase the amazing New York nightlife here that
There's a lot.
people don't really realize how accessible it is, how talented people are, and yes, very, very hot across all sizes, genders, nationalities. I'm closer to like 300 live performance videos on the channel right now. There's going to be one, at least, sometimes more, live art performance that posts on the channel every week. And then I supplement that with my main passion, which is photography. So I do behind the scenes of my shoots. And I also am lucky enough now that people send me a lot of things to review so that I can let you guys know which tools and gear is going to be useful, which ones aren't.
He knows the stuff.
Yeah, and then you can see how to shoot in a very, very tiny place, and you can do a lot of things. So it's a fun way of also giving back to the community and working, and at the same time learning a little bit more. So we are all producing and learning. So again, Queensiñera, you're the absolute best. Thank you very much. I cannot wait to edit these latest set of photos. Super cool, very moody, very sexy. A lot of those won't be on Instagram because, well, maybe we'll cover some stuff.
There's a couple.
We'll cover a few things. But yeah.
Yes.
So with that, I'm Jong, Queensiñera. Thank you very much.
See you.